Yeah? Well, you can go straight to hell. Cheers. Well, hello, Hollywood. Oh, mic's off. There we are. Has everyone ever noticed how when people are queuing for a bus, they seem to think they can occupy the whole pavement? I mean, sometimes when they're queuing for a bus, it's like trying to get through a rugby scrum. Mind you a bit of when I went on that fishing boat off the coast of Dover. We had to go through all those dinghies. I didn't catch much that day, apart from 2 Iraqis, 1 Somalian, and an Elvis impersonator from South Sudan. Well, it's nice to have a couple of Americans here because I actually, this is actually true, I lost my virginity in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah, and my first kiss was actually on Venice Beach. That's actually true, it's no bullshit. And I think it's kind of a special memory. I mean, it's much better than losing your virginity to some fat slag over Quarry Bank or... no, it's a nice place, quite or a devil worshipping meeting group or something, or backstage at the Conservative Party conference. I mean, no, she was very, very beautiful, and I'd love to go back there and look into her dark, exotic eyes and ask her, where the fuck is my wallet? Anyway, I have a terrible confession to make, and it's actually that I actually voted for Boris Johnson. What the hell was I thinking about? I mean, he looked like a cross between Sideshow Bob and the Abominable Snowman. I mean, the way he did his hair every morning, he must have just put his finger in an electric socket, you know? He filled the country up with full of Turkish barbers, but he could never seem to find his way to one, you know? But the thing is, I think he was probably about the worst Prime Minister we ever had if it wasn't for old Tony Blair. I mean, Tony Blair looked like the Joker, didn't he, really? Let's face it. I mean, he only got the job because Margaret Beckett had 2 things against her. One is she was a woman, which was a pretty nasty thing for the Labour Party, and the other, she was a bit ugly. But I'd rather have an ugly woman as Prime Minister than something that looks as though it's been gestating inside as a lizard for 9 months, you know? Tony Blair, there was certainly something wrong about him. I reckon, I don't know who voted for him. I think he must have gone to Dudley Zoo and got into the reptile house and got their votes, you know what I mean? But things have improved now. We got Keir Starmer. You know, Keir Starmer went to hospital the other day and he had an x-ray, and the doctors were amazed because they didn't see like the heart and lungs and kidneys. They just saw he was full of shit. But I mean, we got, as leader of we got Kemi Badenoch. I actually find Kemi Badenoch a bit cute. I think I find her quite attractive. Got those little goofy teeth. I find her quite cute. But when she starts talking, my woody just goes straight down. You know what I mean? As for Nigel Farage, I don't find him attractive at all. You know. There is in Wales. They got Plaid Cymru. I don't know much about their policies apart from they're going to make it legal to marry sheep. I mean, in America, I think in America it's probably a little bit better or worse maybe. I mean, there was a nursing home where this Alzheimer's patient returned after 4 years and said he had been president of America, and no one believed him, but it turned out to be Joe Biden. But I mean, he's gone, so we got somebody who's a real clever guy now. We got the art of the deal. You know, we got the maestro himself, Donald Trump. I mean, the guy is a genius. I mean, he was left a fortune in New York real estate by his father, and he went bankrupt. I mean, my wife could have done that. You know what I mean? Actually, talking about my wife is actually from Angola. Does anyone watch Call of Duty 3? Ever played the game? You know, Jonas Savimbi, death to the NPL. No, I suppose nobody's got a sad person who spends all their day on the Xbox. But yeah, my wife was actually a rebel fighter, and she was spent a lot of years fighting in the bush. I've done that myself, you know. Where did I meet her? I actually was studying Portuguese. This makes me sound. I was studying Portuguese, and I met her at an open night for people to meet native speakers. It was a night of Portuguese wine, and I had too much wine, I ended up going to bed with that. But anyway, so that's beside. But when I met her, I thought, sorry? Yeah, well, that's not your better joke than mine. When I thought I didn't care about her colour or religion or what language, but I just thought she was sexy and I wanted to get my end away. And that's the sort of guy I am, you know what I mean? But the thing with Angolan people, and the difference between Angolan and a shark is this: a shark can be swimming around in the sea, and it sees a fish that's full of bones, and the shark will grab the fish, and then eat it, and then it all the bones in its mouth, and it will avoid that type of fish again. And Angolan will buy a fish that's full of bones, he'll be eating it, his mouth will be like a needlework box. But the next week he'll go down and buy another fish exactly the same. I was with her for 15 years. We're separated now. But every time I went to the toilet, it was like giving birth to a porcupine, you know, all the stuff they used to do. Actually, a lot of comedians do this joke. They look around the audience, they'll find somebody looking rather exotic, some Chinese guy maybe, and then say, "What's your name?" And he'll say something like Steve, and then they'll say, "What's your real name?" And people actually laugh at that. But my name's John, but actually, John is not an English name, is it? I mean, a real English name is like Ethelred or Athelstan. A real Scottish name is like Angus. A real Welsh name is like Owen. And we all know what you call somebody from Kent. Anyway, I thought that was good anyway. But when you put a ring on a woman's hand, it really doesn't change much. I mean, there's nothing really romantic about rings. I mean, Saturn actually has 7 rings. And no one has ever written a romantic song about it. Whereas the moon is have they? Whereas the moon is as barren and as desolate as Darlaston, and there's 101 songs about it, you know what I mean? Actually, I saw my mother-in-law, this sounds like an old joke, I actually came up with it myself. I saw my mother-in-law walking down the street with a bulldog the other day, and I went up to her and I said, "That's a nasty looking dog you got." And she said, "Actually, it's quite friendly." I said, "No, I was talking to him." Anyway, this old guy I was waiting for the bus, and this old guy came up to me, and he said, "Is the bus due?" I said, "Look, I don't care what religion it is, just as long as it gets here." Anyway, it's funny how, talking on that subject, I mean, it's funny how terrorists have sort of got a different meaning. I mean, years ago it used to be some guy planting a bomb, quite a ruthless person. Now it's some 80-year-old blind and in a wheelchair with a placard sticking out of it. But I mean, we actually got to keep off that subject a bit. But actually, there's always been trouble in the Middle East, you know, always. I mean, they killed Jesus, and you couldn't have met a nicer guy than that, really. You couldn't have. Actually, the Italians killed him, but they blame the Jews, which shows there was a mafia around even then, you know. Anyway, I think I've come up with all my jokes. I think. Oh, I did see something in the paper today. Somebody they were complaining that they'd gone to a Peter Kay concert and they hadn't laughed once. Well, what did they expect? I mean, it said Peter Kay on the ticket. You're not expecting to laugh, are you? Anyway, I'll hand you back to my namesake and America's finest. The finest from Berkeley University, John.
Hey! John Fowler! Yeah, John, you're right. It's, man, what you've been around, you married a freedom fighter?
Well, a brother lived in the same area as the president, so I don't know what sort of guerrilla fighter. Yeah,
a rebel fighter.
She knew Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. It depends on your opinion if she was a freedom.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. My hometown is Berkeley, California. Has 28% of all of the homeless people in the United States, including me. And it's a very very interesting place. It's a very highly educated place. But lots and lots of the homeless people fought in Angola.